How you doing? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Tzadi Beis. No, Daf Tzadi Gimel. Yes, we're studying Daf Tzadi Beis, right? Yeah, why not? Okay. Yeah, that's good. Why not? All right. Okay. I think so. We got up to. I think so. Up to Daf Tzadi Gimel of Masechta Sanhedrin. I think today we're going to be talking about Hanani, Mishael, Azariah. That's going to be, of course, my Purim costume this year. Hanani, Mishael, Azariah, B'Sech Kiv Shanesh. That's like, I think I'm going to roll up my sleeves. I haven't done this a while. It's starting to get nice out. It's Purim is coming up. I mean, by the way, by the time the Cheved Babylon Talmud listen to this stuff, of course, everyone's going to be already fashnikit, already, hangover's gone, but I'm recording this before, and today's a beautiful day. It's like 67 degrees, I think, something like that. So it's getting a little warm, so I had to roll up my sleeves. So we're going to talk more about Hanani, Mishael, Azariah. I think that's what we're going to talk about. All right. I think we got up to, I certainly hope we got up to, because I think that's where we're going to start from. Daf Tzadi Beis, Amud Beis, about 6 lines from the bottom. Tanu Rabbanon. I hope that's where we got up to. Shisha Nisim Naisu Be'esei Hayem. There were 6 miracles that happened that day. Be'eluhen, these are them. Sof Kivshon, the furnace floated, like rose up. V'nifratz Kivshon, and it, like the wall breached or something. V'humak Sodo, and I think maybe the bottom collapsed or something. V'nepach Tselem Aponav, and the Getchke that Nebuchadnezzar wanted all the Yidden to bow down to flipped over. V'nisifu Arba Malchis, and 4 kings were burnt. V'chi Yechezkel as a mason v'gazdura, and of course Yechezkel brought back to life the mason in Bikas Dura. V'chulu Gemara, and all of those 6 things were learned out from tradition, except Va'arba Malachus Kroksiv. But the fact that the 4 kings got burnt is taka written in the Psukim. The Chsiv, the Pasuk says, V'nebuchadnezzar Malka Sholach lemichnash la'chashdar Benaya Siganaya Ufachvasa Adar Gizraya Gad Biraya Disavraya Taftaya V'chol Shutani Medinasa V'gomer Uchsiv Isei Guven Yehudayin Uchsiv U'miskanchin Achashtar Benaya Sagnaya Ufachvasa Ve'adivrei Malka Chazim L'Gavraya Eilech V'gomer. Got it? Basically, the point is that, so all these people were gathered there, right? It listed like a whole bunch of people gathered there. And then it says, Isei Guven Yehudayin. Now, it was reported to Nebuchadnezzar that there were these Yidden who weren't bowing down to the Getchke. So then he went and he got them all killed. So they threw Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah into the furnace. Now, the people that threw them into the furnace were some of these people that were listed, but when they're listed again, a bunch of them are absent, right? In the first pasuk, it lists all sorts of people, Adar Gazaya, Gadavraya, etc. But in the last pasuk, it doesn't say anything about those people because they were killed when they threw Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah into the fiery furnace. They got burnt by the fire, but Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah didn't. Tani Devei, Rab Eliezer ben Yaakov is taught by the Besmedrash of Rab Eliezer ben Yaakov. Afilu b'shasa sakone, even at a time of mortal danger, le'yishana odem misatzmi min harabonis, a person shouldn't change how he how he holds himself with authority, right? Shalosh Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Beidayin gavraya ilech chofsu b'sar v'lein patcheon v'charbalton. Meaning, even when Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah were thrown into the fiery furnace, they were dressed properly, they were wearing the clothing, they were even to the last minute. It ended up being that they survived. But even when they were thrown into the furnace, they were thrown into the furnace with respect. I was watching the interview. I don't think I watched the whole interview of Omer Venkert, and he was saying how when the Rishayim on October 7th they were burning down the Migunit, the bomb shelter that he was in. So he said, "That's it. I'm not going to be burnt to death like this." And he stood up and he left the Migunit, and they kidnapped him. But he went and he stood up straight and he said, I'm not going, this is not how I'm going to die. He assumed he was going to die, but he walked out and he held himself up straight. And and that's how he was kidnapped. And he said that at no time during his whole 500 days that he was kidnapped did he ever, he always maintained his dignity and held himself with respect the entire time. And even when they called him over to come to them, he didn't come over; they came over to him, and he said, he held himself with respect. And just like Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah, when they were thrown into the Kivshon Ha'esh, Omer Venkert was continuing a tradition of Yidden during these horrible times by Rishoyim that the Rishoyim imposed upon them. But the Yidden, Omer Venkert was Mekayim the Salocha b'shas hasakona, afilu b'shas hasakona, ve'yishana odem esasmo min bonus. And Chevre, Purim is coming up. Of course, for me, for you, it's coming up in about a year from now. But Purim is coming up, and Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah refusing to bow down to the Getchke is, of course, reminiscent of Mordechai, of Mordechai Yehudi and Shushan Abira refusing to bow down. Mordechai lo yichar v'lo yishtachve. He wouldn't bow down to Haman HaRasha. And of course, this year for Purim, I'm going to dress up as Hanani, Mishael, Azariah b'serch Kivshon Ha'esh. Okay. Now, is somebody making noise outside? I think so. Okay, let's go back. Rabbi Yechanan says, the righteous are even greater than the ministering angels. Shneimar, as the Apostle says, Ona v'omer, ha'ona chazi guvin arba'a. I think Ona v'omer, was a reference to Nebuchadnezzar, I think said. Ha'ona chazi guvin arba'a. I see four people there. Sharion, Halchin, Bigoy Nura, walking around in the fire, V'chava lo isi b'hon, and they're not getting injured. V'rivoya di rivi'a adama levar Elohim, and the fourth one seems to be, I guess, like an angel. But the point is that it refers to the Malachi Asharis, the fourth angel that was the angel that was connected to them. It refers to the angel as the fourth one, because Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah were greater than the angel. When Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah were released from the Kivshon Ha'esh after surviving miraculously, all of the nations of the world came and gave a slap to the face to all the Yidden. I mean, not that they need an excuse to give a slap to the face for the Yidden, but all right, the Yidden can never win, right? They don't like the Yidden beforehand, and then after Hanani, Mishael, Azariah, then they get upset with the Yidden for not being better, right? They said to them, you have a God like this, that clearly Hanani, Mishael, Azariah demonstrated what it means to be a Yoreh Shamayim, and the Umisa'olam chided the Yidden. You have a God like this, and you're bowing down to a Getchke. So they didn't like the Jews much beforehand, but now there's another reason to you get them from either end. When they're bowing down to the Getches, you don't like them. When they're not bowing down to the Getches, you don't like them. All right. Miyad pasuk v'amru nechashim magdula v'lanu boshis upanim kayim hazeh. And then Hanani, Mishael, Azariah said, to you Hashem is the tzedakah, and we have boshis upanim on this day. Because what is going on over here? The Yidden bowing down to Etzelim. Amr Reb Shmuel ben Achmani, Amr B'Yonis and Maidich said, what does the pasuk mean? Amarti ele b'somer oicha b'sansino. What does the pasuk in Shir Ashir mean? I said I will go up to the tomer, I'll go up to the palm tree, to the date palm, I will grab onto the branches. Amarti ele b'somer. I said I would go up on a great palm tree. Elu Yisrael, that's the Yidden. Ba'achshav le'olah b'yodi elo san senechot shechanan Mishael v'Azariah. I thought that the Yidden would be as great as a palm tree, but I see that all there is Lemaise Hanani, Mishael v'Azariah. Amr B'Yechon Ma'adich said, what does the pasuk mean? Ra'isi alayla v'hinei ish roichev al sus adam. I saw tonight that there was a man riding on a red horse. V'oime ben ha'adosim, and he is standing among the hadosim, the myrtles, asher b'metzula v'gomer, that are in the pool. My ra'isi alayla. What does it mean? I saw it tonight. Bikesh HaKadosh Baruch Hu la'afach es kol ha'olam kulei lelayla. The Rabbeinu Shalom wanted to make the entire world into night. And it says that there was a man riding an Ish Ela HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Ish is a reference to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Shnema Hashem Ish Milchamo. But the Rabbeinu Shalom is an Ish Milchamo. Hashem Shmoi. Al Sus Adam on a red horse. Bikesh HaKadosh Baruch Hu La'afach Es Ha'olam Kulei L'Dom. The Rabbeinu Shalom wanted to turn the Gans Welt into blood. When he saw Chananim Shav Azariah, Niskar Daito, then he changed his mind. Shnemar, as the pasuk says, and he is standing among the myrtles in the pool. Hadasim means the righteous. Shnemar ve'yu es hadasim. Pasuk from the Megillah says that Motre omen es hadasim. I think it means he raised Be'etzem Esther, but okay, so it's talking about tzaddikim over there, righteous people. Vein Metzula ela Bavel, and Metzula is Babylon. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Omer Letzula Chorovi. He says to the pool, dry up, and Arusayich Ovish, and your rivers I will dry up. Miyad Mileim Roges Nasim Sukim. And then immediately those that were filled with anger became colorful, and the red ones, nice levanim, became white. We see that a white horse is good for a dream. So now Chananim Shav Azariah, after they survived that ordeal in the Kivshan Eish, what happened to them? Where did they go? Rav says that they died from an ayin hara, right? Everybody was looking at them fancy, and then they died from that ayin hara. Shmuel Amar Birok Tavu. Shmuel says that they drowned in spit. Reb Yochanan Omar says Reb Yochanan Alul Eretz Yisrael v'nasu noshim v'alidu banim u'vanus. Oh, they made aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. They found and they got married, and they had made a family. Ketanoi, like we learn in a brisa. Machlekes Tanoim, Rabbi Eliezer says Rabbi Eliezer, Ba'ayin hara mesu, they died from an ayin hara. Rabbi Yoshua Omer, B'roik Tavu, Rabbi Yoshua says that they died in spit. And Chom say that they moved to Eretz Yisrael and they got married and started a family. Shenemar, as the Apostle says, Shmano Yoshua HaKoyin HaGadol, listen, Joshua the Koyin Gadol, Atavri Echo, Hayoshim Lefanecho, you and your friends that sit before you, Ke'anche Moifes Ema, they're people of Moifsim, the people of Moifsim, of miraculous things. Who are the people that have Moifis happened to them? That is Chananya Mishav Azariah. Where was Daniel during this whole ordeal? Rav says Rav he went taka to Tveria in order to dig a big river. Shmuel Amar says Shmuel he went to get like animal feed. He had to go get animal feed someplace. And Daniel says that he was sent. Rabbi Yochanan says that he was sent to pick up hogs from Alexandria in Egypt. Is this really so? We learn in the Mishnah. Tudis haroife omar ein par b'chazira yotzes yotzem Alexandria shemitzrayim shen choyschin ha'eim shela b'shvil shelitele. But 1 second, Tudis, the doctor says that the minig in Alexandria was because they knew that their hogs and their cows were so good, they would cut out their wombs so that they cannot reproduce. So meaning, if the whole point of that Nebuchadnezzar sent Daniel to Egypt in order to procure hogs and cows so that they could breed them in Bavel, but they were wombless. So Zutre, I say below Daitayu. Well, they smuggled in small ones without the Egyptians knowing. Alright, Givaldik. There were 3 involved in that decision to send away Daniel during the whole ordeal of Hanani, Mishael, Azariah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'Daniel v'Nebuchadnezzar. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why was HaKadosh Baruch Hu involved? Omer Nezel Daniel me'ocha d'olemu b'zchusei isnatzu. The Rabbeinu Shalom said that Daniel should get out of town, because if he's in town, then people would say the Hanani, Mishael, Azariah were saved on account of Daniel, not on their own account. So he was out of town and he wasn't there. But Daniel figured, Eizo me'acha, I should get out of here. Right? Because as we're going to see in a second, Nebuchadnezzar worshipped Daniel as a god, as a deity. And there's a halacha in the Torah, ufsile Elohim tisufun ba'esh, that you have to burn the deities of the non-Yidden. And therefore, of course, Daniel was going to refuse to bow down to the Getchke, and of course he would therefore be thrown into the furnace as well. But unlike Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah, Daniel was concerned that he would end up being burned alive, but not because he deserved to be burnt to death, but just because ufsile Elohim tisufun ba'esh, and therefore he wanted to avoid that. Fine. Nebuchadnezzar Amar, and Nebuchadnezzar figured, Yazu Daniel me'acha, let Daniel scram and get out of town. That they shouldn't say Kaya le'Eloi benura, that people shouldn't say about me, Nebuchadnezzar, that I burnt my own deity in fire. How do you know that Nebuchadnezzar bowed down to Daniel? The Pasuk says, "B'dayin Malka Nebuchadnezzar nofal al apoi v'Daniel skid v'gomer." That Nebuchadnezzar bowed down to Daniel. Koyem Hashem tzvokis Eloke Yisrael Achav ben Koloya vel Tzidkiyahu ben Maasiyah. So Achav ben Koloya and Tzidkiyahu ben Maasiyah were false prophets. Hanibim lochem bishmi lo shoker v'gomer, that they prophesy in my name falsely. It says v'lokeach mem klala l'chol golus Yehuda asher b'Bavel lokech v'lukach mem klala l'chol golus Yehuda asher b'Bavel lemor simcha Hashem kitzidkiyahu cha'achav, that all of the people are going to curse people by saying you should be cursed like Tzidkiyahu and Achav asher kolam melech Bavel ba'esh, that the king of Babylonia burnt them in fire. Asher sarafam lo nemar ela asher kolam, thus that he burnt them, but that he singed them. Amar Rav Yochanan Mishum ben Yecham lamet she'ason kiklayos, he made them like, I don't know, roasted nuts or something. Yana asher ason nevala b'Yisrael, because they did bad stuff, nevala, bad stuff. By Nafwas and the Sherei Eyim, and they had relations with the wives of others. My avud, what happened? Also, Lagabi Barta de Nebuchadnezzar. They went to the Nebuchadnezzar's daughter. Achav Amrla. That sounds like a pretty silly thing to do. I don't know. Achav Amrla. Achav says to her, Koyam Hashem. So says God. He shot Hashmi el Tzidkiah. Go and listen to Tzidkiah and have beer with him. And that's what God said. Tzidkiah Amar. And Tzidkiah said, Koyam Hashem Hashmi el Achav. And Tzidkiah says, God said that you, daughter of Nebuchadnezzar, should listen to Achav and lie with him. So she went and told her father, Nebuchadnezzar, who obviously was unimpressed. He says to her, Elohim shalelu soine zima hu. Well, that doesn't make sense, because their God, the Rabbeinu Shalom, hates these inappropriate relationships. Ki also legabech. And therefore, when these nudniks come to you, send them my way. So when Achav and Tzidkiyahu, these two false prophets, came to Nebuchadnezzar's daughter, she sent them to him. He said to them, Man Omar Lechon, who told you to sleep with my daughter? Amu HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He said, well, the Rabbanu Shalom. Nebuchadnezzar says, wait a second, but I asked Hanani, Mishael, Azariah, and they said it's forbidden. Amulei, to which Achav and Tzidkiyahu responded, Ononami Nevi'e Kavasari. Yeah, okay, but he's a Navi, and we're Nevi'im. Ledidu loy omar luhu, ledidun omar lon. Look, he's a prophet, we're also prophets. The Rabbanu Shalom didn't tell him, he told us. He says to them, look, Nebuchadnezzar says, okay, well, let's do a little test. I want to check you out to see if you guys are legit, because I don't think you are. Let's do a little test in the same way that we tested Chanani Mishav Azariah. Amrulei. To which he said, wait, you mean like you want to throw us into a fiery furnace? Wait 1 second. Yeah, but Inun Tlasa Havu V'anan trained. There were 3 people. We're only 2. Amrulu. So Nebuchadnezzar says, okay. Bachru l'choid mandi ba'isu ba'daichu. Well, take your pick. Choose a third. Choose a third person, and we'll throw all 3 of you into the pit, into the fiery furnace. Amru. So they said, okay, good idea. Yoshua Kohen Gadol. So they said, okay, well, we choose Yoshua Kohen Gadol, right? Now, of course, they were in Bavel. Yoshua Kohen Gadol was in Yerushalayim. So they said, okay, go get Yoshua Kohen Gadol and throw all 3 of us into the pit, into the fiery furnace. Sabi, they figured, Leisa Yoshua Denovish Chusei, they figured if we get Yoshua Kohen Gadol, who has a lot of Zchusim, so Umagna Allah, and he will protect us in the fiery furnace. Achasyu, so they went, and he brought him to Bavel from Yerushalayim. Shadinu, and they were all thrown into the fiery furnace. Inu iklu Yoshua Kohen Gadol ichruche money. And while Tzidkiyahu and Achav were burnt up and died, Yoshua Kohen Gadol escaped with merely his clothes being singed. Shenemar Paul says, "Vayirenius Yoshua Kohen Gadol omer lifnei Malach Hashem v'gomer uchsiv vayomer lasot and yigar Hashem b'cha v'gomer." And it says, "Hello, is that ud mutza me'esh?" Right, the be'esem that Yoshua was saved, and he was just like a piece of wood that was saved from a fire. Omar le Yadayna did tzadikah, and Nebuchadnezzar says to Yoshua Kohen Gadol, "I know that you are righteous. Elamai taima ahanya bach porta nura." But I understand that you're righteous, but the fire did manage to singe your clothing. How come the fire managed to singe your clothing? Chananim Shov Azariah lo yahani bi'u klal. Whereas by Chananim Shov and Azariah, the fire did not affect him whatsoever. Amalei. So Yoshua Kohen Gadol responds, Inu tlos avu v'anachat. So Yoshua Kohen Gadol responds, look, there were 3 people, I'm just 1 person. Omar lei. So Nebuchadnezzar says to Yoshua Kohen Gadol, Avram yochin hava. But Avram, when Nimrod threw him into the fiery furnace, he was just 1 person, and he didn't get singed at all. Hasum lahavu rishayim baidei v'lo isye v'shusa lenura. Right? Well, by Avram, he was thrown in by himself. There weren't nudniks there also. And therefore, by Avram, the fire was not given permission whatsoever to do anything. But says Yoshua Kohen Gadol, I was thrown into the fiery furnace with these nudniks, and therefore, and the permission was given to the fire to burn them, and once permission was given to the fire to burn, so then I got singed as well, although I survived. This is what the people say. Trei ude yeveshe v'chad retiva. If you have 2, pieces of wood that are moist, that are wet, 2 that are dry, and 1 that is moist. Okton yeveshe l'retiva. So the dry ones will ultimately ignite the moist one. My time at Ionush. How come Yoshua Kohen Gadol was punished to this extent that his clothing was burned? Because Yoshua Kohen Gadol's sons were married to daughters who were not fit for priesthood. And he didn't prevent them. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, or he didn't protest them. As the pasuk says, that Yoshua was wearing dirty clothing. Why would Yoshua Kohen Gadol be wearing dirty clothing? And rather teaches that Yoshua Kohen Gadol's sons were married to women who were not fit for priesthood, and he did not protest. Omer of Tanchum, says of Tanchum, Darsh by Kapar b'tzipori, or by Kapar take Darshan and Tzipori, and I think we're going to have a few of these. What does the pasuk mean? Sheish asorim ha'ele nosan li, that Boaz gave 6 barleys to Rus. My sheish asorim, what's these 6 barleys? Ilam sheish asorim mamish. If it literally means 6 barley kernels, what would Boaz give to Rus? Literally 6 barley kernels? Boaz was a wealthy fellow. 6 barley kernels. Ella sheish soyin. Okay, maybe it means he gave her 6 sa'as of barley. That's a lot of barley. What is Rus gonna schlep 6 sa'as of barley? Ela remez ramaz la. Rather, the whole point was that he was giving giving a remez to a representation. I don't know what's a remez, a sign to her. Shasid and Shisha banim lotzis mimena, that there are going to be 6 boys that come from her. Shemizbarchim b'sheish brachis, that each one of them is going to have 6 blessings. Ve'eluin, these are them: David, Umashiach, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, Vazariah are all going to come from Rus. David, Tichsiv Vayan, Echad me'anairim. So one of the Nairim said, Vayomer hine ro'isi ben li'isha be'salachmi. I saw that there was a son to Yishai. Yodea Nagin, I think that's 1. V'gibur Chayil, that's 2. V'ish Muhammad, that's 3. V'novim Dover, 4. V'ish Torah, 5. V'Hashem Imoy, 6. V'gomer. V'amar Rav Yudah Amar Rab, Kol HaPosuk Hazeh, this entire Posuk, Lo Amar Doyeg Ela B'Lashon Hara. That, as we're going to see soon, that the Echad Min HaNairim is Doyeg HaDoimi, and he said it to Shaul as Lashon Hara against David. Yodea Nagin She'yodea L'Shaul, and he says Yodea Nagin because basically he was, speaking positively about David in front of Shaul because he knew that it was going to get Shaul upset. So he says, She'yodea L'Shaul, that David HaMelech knows how to ask Torah questions. Gibor, She'yodea L'Hashiv, he knows how to respond to Torah questions. Ish Milchama, a man of war, She'yodea L'Isov Litim B'Milchamta Shel Torah, he knows how to navigate the Milchama, the war of Torah. And, he can extrapolate things from other things. That he shows abilities in halacha. And there are that the halacha is always like David HaMelech. Now, by all of these praises, Shaul was listening. He says, "Yeah, my son Yehonasan can do this. Al-Bazach can do it too." Came into Amar Lei Vashem Imoy. But when Doeg says that God is with him, that is something that was not shaykh to him. I think the point is that the halacha wasn't necessarily like Shaul, I think was the point. So Chalash Daitis, then he felt bad, and got, I think, jealous of David HaMelech. To be Shaul, it says by Shaul, Chalash Yifne Yarshia, David Chalash Yifne Yatzliah. How do we know that the Echad Min HaNairim is Doyeg? It says the special one of the lads. When it says Visham Ish Me Abde Shaul Bayom Mahu, it says by Nov that there was one of the servants of Shaul on that day. Netzar Lefnei Hashem was there. I think was studying Torah before God. Vishmoy Doyeg Adomi. His name is Doyeg Adomi. Abir Aroyim. He's the strong of the shepherds. So you see, he was a special person, right? So just like we said, Echad Min HaNairim, we said Miyuchad Benairim. So here also the Abir Aroyim, Asher L'Shaul Mashiach, Asher L'Shaul from Shaul. Mashiach, Tichsiv Zevot says V'nocha Olav Ruach Hashem, that the Spirit of God will rest upon Ruach Chochma, Uvina, Ruach Eitza Ugvura, Ruach Das V'yiras Hashem. That's 6 things for Gomer. Uchsiv Aricho B'yiras Hashem. Alexander B'lamshet Ino Mitzvos V'Yisurin Krichaim. Aricho B'yiras Hashem means that that Mashiach has mitzvahs and also Yisurim. How do we translate Yisurim again? Afflictions, like a mill. Rava Amar Demarach V'doin, that he could smell and judge, meaning he could just look at the litigants and be able to tell who's right and who's wrong. He doesn't judge based on what he sees. And he judges righteously the downtrodden. Okay, he judges properly. Bar Koziva, Malach Tarten, Shnin Ufalda. Bar Koziva, Bar Kochva. I'm learning a mimer from Ginsburg about Bar Koziva and the difference in Sheker and Kozov. Very interesting stuff. That was in Parshas, maybe Bishalach or Yisroi. I have to look. Anyways, Bar Koziva, Malach Tarten Shninva Ufalga was king for 2.5 or ruled for 2.5 years. Amalulu Rabban, he said to the rabbis, Ono Mashiach, I am the Messiah. They said to him, B'Mashiach Ksiv Demarach V'doin. It says by the Messiah that he's able to smell and judge, just be able to, sense who was innocent and guilty. Let's see, let's see if you could do that. When they saw that Bar Kokhba was unable to do that, Katlu, they killed him. Which is interesting because, what does that mean? Because I thought he was killed by the Romans or something. So, yeah, I think it's a Shiloh. There's some answer about it, but I don't remember. Daniel, Chananya, Mishal, Vazari, Dechsibu, it says about them, Asher ein boim kol ma'um, they have no mum, V'tove mare, Umaskilim, V'chol chochma, V'yodei das, U'mivine mado, V'asher koyach boim lama beichal amelech ulam de sefer. The sefer V'loshen kazdim. Ma asher ein boim kol mum, what does it mean that they don't have any blemishes? Omer, Reb Cham, Reb Chinina, Afilu, Kirivda dechusilta, le'avabu. Even like the lancet of a bloodletter they didn't have. Like they were mamish so perfect, they didn't even have any marks from like bloodletting, nothing. What does it mean that they had the strength to stand in the sanctuary of the king? That when they would go, I think before Nebuchadnezzar, it says that, right, so it says, what is it? So what it means is Malamed teaches you owns in a they will force themselves against any joking around, from speaking, from sleeping. They would hold it in when they had to go to the bathroom out of the awe, out of the fear of the king. All of them are from the tribe of Judah, the descendants of Judah. That Daniel was from the descendants of Judah. Chananim, Mishael, and Azariah were from other tribes. Umibanecha asher yetzu, I think. And mibanecha asher yetzu mimcha asher told it yikru or yikachu ubayu sarisim b'eichal melech bavu. My sarisim, what does it mean that they were sarisim? Rabbi was sarisim mamish. It means that they were literally sarisim. 1 second. Okay. Where are we? Okay, Chananim, Mishael, and Azariah. Okay. The Chananim, Mishael, and Azariah mamish were castrados. Reb Chanina Omar shenistarsa avodah zarah b'meim, that avodah zarah was basically ruined. Right? There's no more that they kind of messed up avodah zarah in their days. B'shom l'mad shenistarsa avodah zarah b'meim. I understand if it means that avodah zarah was ruined in their lives. And v'choval loy isai behon, that there was no blemish, that they had no blemishes at all. They were not castrados. Now the mandam is sarisa mamish, but if they're mamish castrados, my b'choval lo isai b'hom, what does it mean that there was no blemish? Chavala tenura. Well, it means that there was no blemish of fire. So they were castrados, but there was no blemish of fire. V'oksiv v'reach nur lo hadas b'hom, but it says that they didn't have any scent of fire. Lo chavala v'lo recha. Yeah, there was no scent, but there was also no blemish either. I understand if we say that avodah zarah was messed up in their days. And this is what the pasuk means. That so says God to the sarisim that guard my Shabbos. Right? That if you say that Chananim, Mishael, and Azariah weren't actual castrados, just that avodah zarah was messed up in their days. So but if they were castrados, would the pasuk talk about right? Just throw out the sarisa masheshma shabsosa, which is call them out for being castrados. That wouldn't be very nice. So it must be the fact that the pasuk just freely says sarisim must mean that it means that avodah zarah was kind of ruined in their days. Havabu. So the Gemara says, well, you could say that they were both. They were castrados and also avodah zarah was ruined in their days. B'shalom l'man the over sarisim mamish. I understand if they say that they were mamish castrados. Han d'chsev b'veisu b'chomosa yad vashem tov mibanim v'banos. Right, in my house, in my walls, a hand and a name better than sons and daughters. They didn't have sons and daughters, so this is better than sons and daughters. If it means that avodah zarah was ruined in their days, but they had sons and daughters, then what does it mean? Better then sons and daughters, they have sons and daughters. Better than the sons and daughters that they had already and died, and they don't currently have sons and daughters. Daniel Shinikra al Shmo. Then it says, Hashem Olam Eteno Asher Lo Yikaris, that an eternal name that will not be cut off. It means that this is Sefer Daniel, which is named, given the name Daniel. That all the things in Sefer Ezra were really said by Nehemiah. So why don't they call the book of Ezra the book of Nehemiah? So because he kept good for himself. It says, God remember me for good. David also says similarly, David was just asking for mercy. He wasn't like trying to toot his own horn. Because Nehemiah spoke negatively about the earlier ones. And Nehemiah also spoke negatively about Daniel, who was greater than him. I didn't know that Daniel was greater than Nehemiah. The Chassidus says, that I, Daniel, alone saw the image. And those who were with me did not see it. But they got very scared. They hid. Who are the people that didn't see anything? Chagai and Zechariah and Malachi were greater than Daniel, but at the same time he was greater than them. They are greater than Daniel because Chagai, Zechariah, and Malachi were prophets and Daniel was not. At the same time he's greater than them. Because he saw what was going on, but Chagai, Zechariah, and Malachi did not. Well, if they didn't see what was going on, then why did they get scared? Even though they didn't say anything, their vibes saw it. That a person who gets scared, even though he doesn't say anything, his vibes see it. What do you do? If you get all scared and stuff because of your vibes, so you got to jump 4 garmides. Or if you don't know what a garmid is, and you don't know how far to jump, so read Kriyat Shema. And if you're in a dirty place, a place where you can't read Kriyat Shema, so say the following: that the goat by the butcher is fatter than I. Peace out.